Hey guys, here's Louie. Well, as of the 4th of July weekend passed us by, today is Monday, the 7th of July, and I'm here back working on the Ladybird here. Car is coming out excellent. I'm going to give you guys a real quick review of what's going on. What was the hiccups with the car. But Jonathan at Vinyl Village Garage, I first want to say thank you for coming to spend the 4th of July weekend here in Pennsylvania with me and the family. We had a great time and we did a whole lot to the car and things, that had to get fixed. Okay. So while Jonathan was here, he helped me put the sheet metal on the car. Okay. And we found some issues with the body gaps. Okay. The door here, the passenger door being the most ugliest door gap I have ever seen. Maybe him also, Jonathan. But before we get to the door gaps, let's get to where we left off on the car. So here's the engine bay. Okay, that's not the air cleaner that's gonna go on the car permanent. Scott, the owner of the car, has a really nice one. I hope he's gonna paint this satin black before he comes here and pick up the car, because you're gonna need a car cleaner, a carburetor cleaner, buddy, to keep it clean. But anyway, that's one I have in there. It's busted. It's an original 2-barrel. It's busted to the side. I'm gonna fix it up and I'm gonna keep it for myself. He gave it to me as a gift. But the engine bay is looking sweet. Okay, everything's looking good. We happen to have a full back, and the full back was that delayed the breaking in of the engine because the timing cover has a crack. See this bolt right behind this bolt, and the way it was leaking antifreeze, there's no way it was safe to keep the engine on for a long time, which you guys know the braking process is about 20 minutes at 2,000 RPMs. Jonathan has some good details on his channel, and I believe the video will be coming out soon, this week possibly. But those of you that doesn't follow Jonathan, please go to Vinyl Village Garage, subscribe, and you are going to find out a lot of information over there. Good stuff. Jonathan, I call him the bird doctor. He's excellent. Okay, so that what set us back was the timing cover. Okay. What else? Everything else checked out good. Okay. Before putting this fender on and dealing with this door gap here, I did some welding underneath the door jamb section here. It was still off the car on this side, but that got welded. Okay, and everything is great. Okay, now I need to do a small rust repair on the rocker on the top part here. All right, that I found yesterday as we was prying the door open and the pry bar went through. I'll show it. It's just a little spot. And there you go again. You don't know how good is the metal until you really put it to the test, right? That's just the truth about this. I'm only going to share the truth. There is really no actual way to know. I'll be honest with you, unless you plan just to start with brand new metal from the get-go. Okay, or you have the money to acid dip the car and blah blah blah, and list goes on how you could do it. So everything so far is going great. Okay, with the car. Now the body gaps here, the fender to door body gap is not terrible. It's not perfect by no means, but it's not terrible. I mean, I cannot fit my finger in through there, okay? And when the car gets painted, you open the door, it's not gonna chip off no paint. This door was nuts how it was facing too much to the, I mean, she was literally kissing the quarter panel, and now she has a gap. Okay, I could live with that gap. It's tight, but I mean, it's not hitting nothing. It's not hitting no metal. Okay, I could live with that gap. I wish that the passenger side had that same issue, because trust me, I wouldn't have to do anything. Another thumbs up means something went good, not bad. All the electrical seems to be fine as of now. The car did turn on with the key. We had it on a couple of times, all right, just to see if everything was gonna be ready to go when that day does come that I need to break in the engine, which is pretty soon. Once I receive the timing cover, I'll throw it on and I'll break in the engine. Okay. Jonathan also did an assessment on this car, so check that out, that video. Now here comes the problem. Okay, here comes the problem of the bad side of the gap. This is being the worst. Okay, but let's start with this one, and I'm going to grab a paint stick. When I started this morning on the car, this body gap here bothered me, okay? And I said, you know what? Let me try to fix this. And if I'm able, and I be successful enough to fix this body gap here, okay, which this body gap is actually smaller than the one over there. It was bigger than that one, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the paint stick here, I had two of them, and they'll fit in. Now it's one, okay? As you get to the middle, it's a little big, but two paint sticks do not fit in there, okay? It's just a little bigger, a little thicker than the paint stick. And here, awesome, okay? Here goes a little tight, but guess what? It's all right, because there's not going to be no paint rubbing off here because the metal is not hitting each other, okay? So, since I was successful, and that body gap down there to the rocker is really way better. So the way I did this was I hooked a ratchet strap here, and I went all the way to the back, and the other hook is there, and I hooked it to where the jack gets hooked up originally on these cars, which is right here. Okay, and I just cranked away. I will show you pictures at the end of the video of how this was hooked up, that ratchet strap. And I let loose the bolt that's behind this fender. If you open this door, at the door jamb, there's a bolt there. There's one bolt here, okay? There was not a bolt here. Now there is. And I loosened the two bolts that goes in the bottom of the fender. I also loosened one bolt on top of the core support and that body bolt from the core support, okay? For when I ratchet, when I started doing the ratchet, it would have movement, and it did. I mean, she went far back enough that I'm really happy. Even this gap here, I made it work a little bit better than what it was, okay? And I hammer and dolly the sides. I mean, I'm really happy how it came out, okay? And because I was successful of fixing this gap, I said, why not? And by the way, ratchet straps is an important tool. We're going to call it a tool for your garage, all right? All you guys out there that never use one, I have used one in previous videos. For those that follow me know that that's for a fact. I have used some, okay? And Jonathan used them. Forget about it. A whole lot. Al from keeping it simple garage also had a video not too long ago about getting these fenders to fix a little better using ratchet straps. So it shows you those are three different YouTube channels there, guys putting the first gen F bodies together, okay, using ratchet straps. Trust me, they do not let you down. I have used to twist these cars, and forget about it. I mean, they really work. Okay, they're the extra hands that you don't have if you're building the car, especially by yourself. All right, that's why I found it such much of a big blessing having Jonathan over, and I'm very grateful for it. So now this line right here, all right, Jonathan marked it yesterday before he left. Okay, so down here I could live with this gap. This gap is not that bad, even though the paint stick fits in there, but it's not huge. Okay, could live with it. It's never gonna be perfect unless you keep spending more time. And what happens to more time? It becomes more money. And like I have said before, I ain't building this car for myself. I'm building it for somebody else. Okay, so here I definitely will cut and push the quarter panel over. The reason I do not choose to put a rod in here is because I will have to fill in the rod here with fiberglass, okay? Body filler, fiberglass. And I also will have to fill the back in with fiberglass. Trust me, you do. You could fill it in with weld all you want. Ain't gonna be perfect. You will have to use filler. So I don't want to have all that work, because remember, it'll be body work, metal work, and then filler work, right? So I rather cut it here, all right? Bend over this way, what I need to bend over, okay? To close this gap, because this gap is bad. This gap, 2 paint sticks definitely do fit here, and they dancing, they loose. And as you go up, she does close a bit, but she's still open, okay? She's still pretty big. So I'm going to close that to 3/16 of a gap, the closest possible to 3/16 of a gap. And I should say a little bigger, because I'm gonna try to match this right here, which I could definitely live with this. I mean, look, she's just a little bigger than 3/16 of a gap. All right, so game plan will be cutting this, pushing it over, and then start filling it in with weld. Let's see how successful I am. I'm going to use a grinder to cut this. I don't film as I'm cutting with a grinder, because I'll be honest with you, and I'm just an honest guy. Number one, I don't know how to edit. I ain't learned none of that stuff yet. I don't know if I'm ever going to spend time to learn it. But that's the tool I'm going to use, and I hate the sound of a grinder. Even me that I'm cutting it, I hate it when I hear it in videos. I mute it out because it's very painful to the ears. So let me go get my grinder, cut this, and show you guys how I push it to forward of the car. I'm going to push it forward. All right, guys, so I cut from this point down. I measure this point to the bottom of the door that I said I'm not going to touch because it's not really terrible. So if I push this one forward, it's not going to match the bottom of the door. So I'm leaving it. I'm stopping right here, okay? Here being the worst of the gap, and as it comes up, it closes. So I have a thick screwdriver here. I mean, sorry, not a screwdriver. A thick putty knife. And put it in the slot. And if you see, there's a lot of flexing right here. Okay? It's a lot of flexing right here. There's a brace also behind here. You gotta be careful with it. All right, and look at that. Just like that, starting to bend it close. All right, and here at this gap is where you're gonna have to weld it shut. And this corner here, Jonathan did bring out to my attention that here is flat, right? So the door is flat with the quarter panel, all right? But this corner of the quarter panel is facing out like that, okay? Okay, not severe, but just to give you an idea, it's facing out and the door is facing in. So I'm gonna cut it here, all right? Give it kind of like a relief cut, and this is gonna be pushed in. I'm gonna weld it shut, and it's gonna match the door. So I don't know if you guys could tell on camera. I'll bring the paint stick, but believe me, she is closing up, because I'm bending it this way towards the front. Like I said, I'm not aiming to get 3/16 of a gap. I'm just aiming to get much better than she was, okay? I'm using a dead blow hammer to hit on the scraper, okay? So let me get the paint stick. Okay, need to go a little bit more. And I'm going to stop, I believe, right there, okay? I mean, it's matching what I wanted it to match. Just it's a little bit more snug than here, believe it or not now. Just a little bit, but look, see? I'm gonna grab another paint stick to show you guys that two will not fit. Okay? So at the bottom, two do not fit. See, she's kicking this one down. All right. And here, two will not fit. See, two will not fit, believe me. Here, two used to fit. If you could see, if you could pick that up in camera, you see, she lets me push this one in. But here, I mean, I have to open the door. Right there, she does not come in. Okay, you could always push it a little bit closer for she to look more decent. This is looking much nicer. There you go. Doesn't look bad at all. I'm gonna push it just a little bit more down here. It's hard because you have a brace behind. Guys, I could live with that. I could live with that. Okay? I could live with that. See, this doesn't go. See, two of them cannot fit there. It fits here. Here gotta get pushed in more, and here. Hope you guys could see that. Let me put you guys on another angle to see. See here, two cannot go in. I still could fit two. No, not really. Nope. Okay. Let me hold it to see. Here is big. Okay. The two paint sticks went in. But here, there's no way. Okay. It's no way. We closed all this up already. Let me just keep on going where the paint stick does fit, which was right about here. There you go. See? She's knocking. She's hitting the door now. Now the first one could go in. But the second one, you see how she pushes it back? Okay? I cannot go in. That looks much better than a huge gap. Like I said, I ain't gonna lie, it's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. But it's way better. I could live with that. That I could live with. So what I'll do here now, I'll keep this behind. Alright, to give me some backing, I'll get a hammer and I'll start hammering this because right now she's a little wavy because of the bending. I want to get this to a straight line. And then I'll start planning how I'm gonna weld this up. Alright guys. So right here I have this nice and straight. Okay. But right here I need to hit this in because she's facing, the metal's going like this and then out. So I'm gonna use a scraper. It's pretty thick. I told you it's a thick scraper, like a dolly. And I'm just gonna hammer it. Oh yeah, that came out. Guys, with a body hammer, you do not need to beat the crap out of the metal. You'll be surprised. Any little tap, okay, does something to the metal. It moves. Just like applying heat to the metal, believe me, it moves. Okay? Now I'm really happy how this looks. I'm extremely happy how it looks. Now as I weld, as I fill this in here, okay, I'm gonna have to lift up the quarter panel a little bit and also roll this back with the body hammer. Okay. The reason I'm rolling it back is because I want it to be flush with this. Remember, we use a scraper to push it this way, so it kind of pointed the metal out. Okay, bend it out. So right there, I'm good. I need to bring the quarter panel out a little bit and keep hitting this in. I'm gonna get a rod now and I see how I could weld this in and everything. Make sure the brace in the back is good and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll bring you guys right back. Let me get a rod. All right guys, so you can take a look. Pretty much the gap is following straight through. The door is pushed a little bit in, but once I finish welding and all that, I'll push it out just to show you guys a little better. But I have a piece of metal I cut in there, okay? Trust me, that's a big difference right there. That's how much I had to do to close this. If you saw the video, the first video, I fit my finger in there. I cannot fit my finger no more, okay? So I'm gonna tack that in and show you guys pretty much the process of doing this. If the gap is too big, you're gonna need to cut sheet metal and put it in there. Everybody choose their own battles, right? There's an old saying that says there is 1,001 ways to skin a cat. You just need to pick one, okay? I respect everybody's opinion just like I expect everybody to respect mine. And I chose this way, okay? There's many ways, like I said, to choose, but I chose this way, and that's how I'm choosing to close it. I cut a 18 gauge stripped of metal, pretty much the width of the gap. Okay, I'm gonna burn it in now, okay, and I'm gonna continue going up until everything is burned in. All right, guys. So far I have filled in this part right here. Okay. I had to cut the quarter panel going down more, and I cut it going up. And the reason why I cut it going up, because I wasn't happy how the gap looked, and now I'm really happy. Trust me. I know that in camera might look like something different, but it's a huge improvement. Okay, huge. All right, and that's the method I chose to use. And basically what I'm doing is the real big gaps that is just too wide to weld with just the wire of the welder, I need to fill it in with metal. Okay, this is what I am doing right here. I just put it against. I'm gonna try to put you guys on an angle that you could still see what I'm doing, but that I'm also comfortable in welding. So I just put it like that. Okay, I first weld it to the quarter panel. All right, right now the quarter panel is flush with the lip of this side of the quarter, okay, the jam section, because remember when we cut it, she goes in and this stays here because it's structurally stronger, and here there's nothing. So she went in some, but now she is even. If I push this door out, you see all of them on E are even here. Okay, so I first will do the quarter panel side, this side, then I do the door jam section, and I try to hold this the best I can. Don't want to lose it. Okay, you see that spot right there? And I'm using flux core, okay? So the high wells was more of my beginning wells until I set the machine, the welder, where I was happy at. You see how flat that weld came out? Then you just need to play around with it, push it here, push it there, until you're happy where she's at. Okay, that's the name of the game, believe me. And you just keep on tacking it. I also have this scraper that helps me with the gaps. Okay, put in your scraper. You'll bend this metal a little over, or you could weld it. Right there, I'm flush. Okay, right there, I'm flush. Then I go to this side and I push it out. See, nice little tack right there. Then I come here and I push out this side. Oh, it's coming out. Right. Now I will weld the quarter panel side. Okay. And as you do that and you see the spacing you have, you start shaping your metal so it could fit flush. Right there, I just pushed it in, she's flush right there. Here I'm going to get my saw and cut it for this metal to have somewhere to go, because right now she's a little overlapping this side, but here she's good. Okay, so I use my saw here. Okay, this is the saw I used to just give it a cut and have a little opening, so I was able to push this metal in. All right, same thing, tack weld. Okay, with the metal you want to be very careful you don't warp it, so I'll let this cool down. I use my air hose also, and I'm going to keep moving up to a different spot. You guys pretty much get the idea how tedious this work is. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. Okay, I gotta bend this over, then she'll go in, and I keep on welding, tack welding. I'll bring you guys back once I have everything tack weld. We'll take a look at it. I'll grind it down to see how it looks, and you guys will have a better understanding why I had to do this. Well guys, there you have it. Okay, after a couple of hours of cutting, welding, grinding, smoothing out the grinding stage of the welds, I'm really happy, okay, how this thing came out. Trust me. Let me grab a paint stick and I'll show you guys how Lady Bird passenger side gap is now. So check this out. I was able to stick 2 paint sticks before, right? Well, only one fits in here now, okay? All the way down. I love it. She's right there, quarter panel level to door, okay? And I also cut here, all right? And I bend it that way, all right? So I gave it a cut and a cut down, almost like an upside down L, let's say, like that. All right, I smacked it with a body hammer that way. Now she's exactly with the door. Before she was this way and the door was that way. I could not have lived comfortable knowing that I put this car together having this disgusting body gap, okay? And remember, I started that if I could fix this one, which I did this morning, then I had no choice but to fix this one. So principle is aftermarket sheet metal will give you headaches, but we got to be grateful. I always say that you got to be grateful that we still have them around, okay? Number one. Number two, if you pick up somebody else's project, you don't know what they did. So you might run into issues like I did. And in this car, it was issues, a whole bunch. All right, but trust me, today I will sleep better than I did last night, knowing that I fixed this. The car looks better, and to me, the most important thing, honestly, the most important thing is that I know Scott, the owner of Lady Bird, will sleep 100% much better tonight, knowing that his car doesn't have a real, nasty body gap. Like I said, are they all perfect? No. Are they all respectable now? I will say yes. I seen cars that been painted from professional shops. Listen, I'm not no professional. I'm a guy hanging out in the garage doing cool stuff to these old classic American muscle cars, okay? And I have, not to blow smoke up my cheeks, but I have done better work than I have seen other people do. All right, people that get paid for this as a living. Anyway, the only difference between Louis and them is that Louis works really hard to try to get them done this way, okay? I'm gonna start putting the car together a little more. All right, got a whole bunch of things to do. The cocktail shakers at the front needs to be installed. I need to buy hardware after work tomorrow. I'm gonna be taking out the fan, the pulleys, and the radiator, getting ready for the timing cover, because I got a notification today is on its way. And then it's going to be a whole bunch of sanding here. Before I get to the sanding process, I think I'm going to put the skeleton, the frame of the convertible top. Okay, have everything plumb in, have everything wire in, just making sure that everything works the right way, like it should. And then I believe I'm going to sand this whole car down and shoot it with epoxy primer. It's going to be a gray epoxy primer first, and then there's going to be on color on top of that one. Wait till you guys see, but you have to stay tuned to the next videos coming. Well, guys, like I always say, keep your hands dirty and your project will move forward. Bye-bye.